Well, as the government shutdown continues, lawmakers are still looking to make a deal. ABC's Christiane Cordero reports.
Today, the Senate is voting for a 13th time on a short-term funding bill to reopen the government. And for the 13th time, it's expected to fail.
The Democrats are out trying to claim that this is all on Republicans because we control the government. We don't control the Senate without 60 votes, so you have to have them.
Democrats are demanding Republicans first negotiate the Affordable Care Act to prevent insurance premiums from skyrocketing for some 20 million Americans. They're holding firm on that demand despite calls from the largest federal workers union to pass the clean funding bill and reopen the government.
We are in a health care crisis, and Republicans don't even want to talk about how to fix it.
The stakes are raising by the day. Today, nearly 11,000 air traffic controllers missed their first full paycheck. Pay stubs like this one obtained by ABC News show $0.
The prospect of going another pay period without pay is weighing on the minds of myself and all the people that I work with.
Food pantries are now popping up at airports nationwide to help workers deemed essential, including air traffic controllers and TSA agents. And the need may soon grow more dire. On Saturday, funding for SNAP benefits is expected to run out. 48 states now warn they will have to stop distributing SNAP food assistance to some 42 million Americans if the shutdown continues. The USDA said it would need congressional approval to protect SNAP during the shutdown. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley introduced a bill to do just that. It does not appear his Republican colleagues are on board, as they are instead calling on Democrats to reopen the government. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Alrighty, as we take a look outside, we are sunny and warm. But within a couple of hours, those winds are going to pick up, temperatures are going to tumble, and by tomorrow morning, we'll be waking up near 50 degrees. So I hope you found the jacket. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pollen count. Molds are low and ragweed is present in low amounts as well. The aquifer has fallen half a foot over the last 24 hours. No rain with this front, but here's a look at the timing. Any moment, it'll arrive in the hill country between about 2 to 4 p.m. for San Antonio area, and then by 4 to 6 p.m. for those south of San Antonio. Now, that front will bring more pleasant temperatures, but also fire danger tomorrow. We'll spend some time talking about that in just a bit. Steph, we were just talking about it. A strong cold front with gusts up to 45 miles per hour. Yeah. Those Halloween decorations, I really have a feeling that, some people, it's a little funny. You might be fishing for those Halloween decorations, but I also am worried. I mean, some of those could get lofted higher up into the air. So just be very aware over the next 24, 36 hours that those winds are going to be pretty gusty here.
That's what I'm going to do when I get home. I'm going to take, we have one that's, it's not really that secure, so I think it's just better if we just take it down until the winds calm down a little bit.
Yeah, you've got a few hours here before we start to see gusts up to about 40 miles per hour. Right now outside, it's 82 degrees in San Antonio, but you can see in parts of Texas, temperatures have already dropped into the 50s. It's only 50 degrees in Amarillo. That front is on our doorstep. It is going to be pushing through the hill country momentarily and moving through San Antonio by 2, 3, 4 o'clock. Take a look at these wind gusts. We're already seeing wind gusts of up to 43 miles per hour in Amarillo, 40 miles per hour in Wichita Falls. So again, you can see in real time just how gusty this front is. Let's walk you through the wind forecast pretty much hour by hour. So by 4 o'clock, we'll have a few wind gusts around San Antonio of 30, 35 miles per hour. These winds will be coming from the north. So one thing I want to mention is if you're going to be traveling east to west, be very mindful of high profile vehicles like semi trucks and things like that. They may be swaying in the wind with those north breezes. And then watch what happens later tonight. So winds start to pick up a bit more. And then by midnight, we could easily see wind gusts of 40, 45 miles per hour around San Antonio, around the hill country. And that's a pretty strong wind gust, 45 to to 50 mile per hour wind gusts are pretty strong. To put that in context for you, a severe thunderstorm wind gust is about 58 miles per hour. So not necessarily as strong as those storm gusts that we get, but still strong enough. And you can see even overnight, we're going to have wind gusts of up to 40, 45 miles per hour. You might hear a spooky Halloween sound of the wind in the overnight hours because of those gusts up to about 40, 45 miles per hour. But by tomorrow morning, we're going to feel a chill in the air. We're going to have morning lows right near 50 degrees around San Antonio, forecasting a morning low of 52. In the hill country and outside of the city center, it could easily dip into the 40s early tomorrow morning. I don't know about you, but I need a jacket when it gets close to 50 degrees. And so you might want that jacket early in the morning. And it's not going to get too warm tomorrow. In fact, we expect highs to stay in the 60s. So tomorrow is kind of one of those days where honestly it is sweater weather tomorrow throughout the day, with temperatures struggling to get out of the low 60s in the hill country. That being said, the temperatures will be fairly pleasant, but it is going to be bone dry outside. We're looking at forecast relative humidity anywhere from 10% to 15% during the afternoon tomorrow. And at the same time, we're going to be gusty and dry. So the thing is, fire danger is high tomorrow. We have a fire weather watch tomorrow. Doesn't mean fires are going to definitely start, but if they start, they will spread rapidly. So here are some things that you can do to make sure that you do not create or cause any fires to spread. First of all, avoid all burning tomorrow. It's just not a good idea. Even campfires, not a great idea. Avoid using tools that create sparks. Disposing of cigarettes properly is super important. You don't want to flick that cigarette outside of your car and it fall on a grassy median and cause a grass fire. Not dragging trailer chains, and then don't park your vehicles on grass, especially tall grass. So take a look at what happens to temperatures. So we're going to have a cool day tomorrow, and then by Thursday morning, 41 for the morning low in San Antonio. That is very cold. And then afternoons will be in the 70s, but still very fall-like weather around the corner. Let's talk about devastating Hurricane Melissa. Here's a look at the last 12 hours. Here's Jamaica. It is making landfall as we speak on the western side of the island. And this is creating unimaginable catastrophic damage. Those winds are gusting, those winds are sustained up to 185 miles per hour along that eye wall. Unfortunately, people are suffering right now as we speak on the island of Jamaica. Now that hurricane will pass over Cuba and into the Bahamas by Wednesday night, and then even potentially impacting Bermuda by Thursday night, and making it all the way into the North Atlantic, still having its tropical features. So we'll keep you posted on the latest on Melissa, but our weather here in San Antonio, we're going to be enjoying some cooler weather here. And we have updated the weekend forecast slightly. There's a small chance for rain on Saturday, and we've also lowered temperatures over the weekend. Highs will only be in the low to mid 70s with another chilly morning.
That is nice. We look forward to that as well. Thank you, Sarah. Well, did you get a chance to make it out to Muertos Fest this weekend? This year's Muertos Fest drew a big crowd despite all that construction downtown, and of course the weather concerns that they had on Saturday. Visitors still showed up, honoring and showing their respect to their loved ones who had passed away. So the celebration honors traditional art, music, and had more than 80 altars this year. Muertos Fest is one of the largest festivals in the nation, and it attracts people from all over the country. So if you weren't able to make it out this weekend, we will air a special rebroadcast of the event tomorrow evening. This is October 29th at 8 p.m. It's going to be filled with the stories behind the altars, musical performances, a procession, and a lot more. Well, it was a tense situation at a Northside ISD campus after a girl walked into Warren High School carrying 3 weapons. District leaders say that she got in through the main doors, even though she wasn't a student. They say that she told staff she wanted to register, but when things didn't seem right, school officials called police. Officers confronted her as she tried to leave, and that's when they found those weapons. No one was hurt. However, parents and students say it's a reminder about just how quickly things can turn serious on campus.
What's some of your classmates and friends saying about the whole situation?
That it could have been worse. but that they're glad that nothing escalated to that point.
I'm shocked. I was just like trying to process this because you heard it before us, and for me to hear it from KSAT, I was like, wait, what? And I have 2 students.
Well, school officials say there is no ongoing threat to students or staff. The girl's identity has not been released because she is a minor. Well, local families fight for safety now leading to some results. Details on the effort to improve a street that neighbors say is dangerous.
All right, take a look outside in San Antonio. It's still warm and fairly quiet and humid, but guess what? That front is moving through the hill country as we speak. And it is going to be bringing us our coolest weather that we've seen so far this fall. In fact, we've not had a very cool fall at all. This is the quote unquote coolest we've been. Our high temperature, the coolest that's ever been, was 78 degrees September 7th because of rain. And we've only gotten down to 61 because of some rain on Saturday for the morning low. But here is that front. It is on our doorstep. You can see winds have already turned to the north with gusts in Kerrville and in Comfort up to 21 miles per hour. This front is on our doorstep in San Antonio. We expect it to be moving through momentarily. Look how cool it is behind that front. Temperatures are only in the 50s throughout the middle of Texas. So that front will be moving through within the next couple of hours. And the first thing you'll notice are the gusty winds. We're going to see winds gust up to about 30 miles per hour by 4 o'clock, up to 35 to 40 miles per hour by sunset. You're really going to notice those winds. So you've got about an hour, hour and a half to secure those Halloween decorations, because later on tonight by midnight we could see wind gusts of up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. Oh yeah, by the way, temperatures will be falling too. We'll be near 60 degrees by midnight, and by tomorrow morning 52 for the morning low. By Thursday morning only 41. That will be our coldest we've been since April in San Antonio. And look at that, the chilly mornings stick around. I'll be back with a look at where that front is, and we'll talk about devastating Hurricane Melissa, which has now officially made landfall in Jamaica with 185 mile per hour winds. Details coming up. Stephanie.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, local families' fight for safety is finally paying off. This is in regard to a stretch of Southeast Military Drive that neighbors say is dangerous. So KSAT has continued checking in with neighbors, and this afternoon changes there are finally visible. KSAT has now confirmed that the city added new lights to this crosswalk on Southeast Military between Old Corpus Christi and South Bressa. So VIA also moved its bus stop in the eastbound lanes to be closer to that crosswalk. We were told this was done to help increase the safety of the corridor. Remember, this is where 2 people, including a pregnant woman, were hit and killed just 2 months ago.
The city listened and they heard our outcries, and the community fought.
Well, the city says people walking on Southeast Military Drive can expect the lights over this crosswalk to be able to turn red in the next 2 weeks. And for the second time in a week, we have a fake GoFundMe to warn you all about. This comes after a recent plea from St. Pius Catholic Church about a false GoFundMe page being opened in their name. And now the same thing has happened to San Antonio Pets Alive. So in a warning, they said that the fundraiser was created without their knowledge or consent, that they have not received any of the funds. They said their team is actively working with GoFundMe to have those pages removed and to ensure that donors who did contribute will be refunded directly. So they want to remind people that if they are interested in donating, the only official way to do so through their website and their P.O. box or in person. The 4th living person in the U.S. to receive a genetically modified pig kidney has had the organ removed. After a record 271 days, Tim Andrews of New Hampshire had the organ taken out due to a decline in kidney function. The 67-year-old received a life-changing transplant back in January. Andrews will now return to dialysis and remain on the waiting list for a human kidney transplant. CNN is reporting that the Trump administration is planning another shakeup at Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The administration is reportedly frustrated that ICE agents are not arresting more people. So earlier this year, President Trump set a goal for ICE to arrest 3,000 illegal immigrants a day. However, the agency has fallen short of that goal. ICE has 25 field offices, and CNN is reporting that sources say a dozen directors at those offices could be replaced for underperforming. Well, it is a concept straight out of a sci-fi movie that could soon be in your child's school. So this is the Campus Guardian Angel system at work. The Austin-based startup says that the goal is for their drones to stop a school shooting in just 15 seconds. If the system is launched, the drones are piloted out of this space in Austin. So each one is equipped with sirens, pepper balls, and they can even break a window.
These drones aren't lethal?
Right. I mean, I'm gonna hit you at 60, 70 miles an hour. It's not gonna kill you. It's like getting hit by a baseball bat.
One Hill Country district already has plans to have the drones installed on campuses. Tonight on the Night Beat, KSAT Investigates Daniela Ibarra explains why Bernie ISD bought into the idea. Well, it's a chronic condition that often causes severe pain, endometriosis. It is not common, so why do so many have trouble getting a diagnosis? A doctor explains this noon. Well, as we enter the last few days of National Disability Employment Awareness Month, let's take a look at some numbers here. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says only 22.7% of people with disabilities ages 16 and older were employed in 2024. That number is a lot smaller compared to the 65.5% of people employed without disabilities. The Bureau also found that the common obstacles people with disabilities face when trying to find a job include discrimination, lack of education, lack of physical accessibility, among other things that may relate to that person's disability. So research also shows many employers still perceive cost, productivity, or accommodation needs as a significant hiring risk for people who are disabled. But organizations like Goodwill San Antonio making sure people faced with these kinds of obstacles are given a shot in the workforce. This Say Yes employer empowers people of all abilities to find purpose and independence through work. A clear example is that of Yesenia, who you see here in this video, who has an invisible disability, deafness.
When was it that you got your very first official job?
A lot of time for me to.
It's a lot of challenges that I experienced trying to fill out application after application and not getting any calls back. And when I saw that Goodwill had posted this job for a photographer, I didn't realize it at the time, but they don't have any problem hiring people with disabilities here at Goodwill. They're very open to it. So I went ahead and applied, and I got a call, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, tomorrow on GMSA, you are going to see, with the help of Goodwill San Antonio, just how she's proving to others with disabilities that anything is possible and sending a very strong message to employers to never judge.
All right, you can see this is a live look here of Jamaica, where Category 5 Hurricane Melissa just made landfall with sustained winds of 185 miles per hour. Here's a look out in the streets. Believe it or not, people still out and about. Again, Melissa just made landfall. This is going to be a devastating storm for the island. We'll, of course, have more throughout the rest of the shows. I want to go ahead and show you, though, on Authority radar. You see all that green? That's not rain. That's dust and stuff being kicked up by the front, which is moving through the hill country as we speak. It'll be arriving to San Antonio within the next couple of hours. The first thing you'll notice, windy weather. By tomorrow morning, we'll be near 50 with afternoons right in the 60s. It does bring fire danger, though, with gusty winds and dry conditions. We'll be talking about that fire danger and how we'll have our coldest morning since April by Thursday. I'll have neighborhood look at those low temperatures coming up. All right, Steph, that front is on our doorstep, but I do want to start with breaking weather news that Hurricane Melissa has now made landfall in Jamaica. So take a look at your screen here. We're going to zoom in on the island itself. In the last 12 hours, Melissa has been strengthening just before making landfall here officially on the island as a Category 5 hurricane, tying as the strongest storm to ever impact the island itself. We've got 185-mile-per-hour winds. And unfortunately, the island is getting ravaged by the worst part of this hurricane, which is on the east side here. This is the worst storm surge, the worst winds, the worst amount of rain that this island has seen in a very long time. And we will keep you posted as news breaks out of Jamaica. Melissa is expected to traverse Cuba and the Bahamas tomorrow and then make it toward Bermuda by Thursday evening before heading out into the North Atlantic by Sunday. All right, but we are seeing that front move through San Antonio. Melissa will not impact our weather, obviously, here in Texas, but we are going to have an impact from this front. It's 83 right now in San Antonio. The front is moving through the hill country. The cooler weather is going to take its time getting here, but the first thing you're going to notice are the winds. Winds have already started to gust in San Antonio up to 20 miles per hour, but look at that. We've got wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour behind this front. So walking you through in your KSAT 12-hour forecast, by 4 o'clock, we're going to have wind gusts of up to 30 miles per hour, and then temperatures will be falling into the 60s after sunset. Winds will pick up. We're going to have sustained winds from the north at about 30 miles per hour, but by midnight, we could see wind gusts of up to 40 to 45 miles per hour. So you really need to take the time, make sure those Halloween decorations are secure, because overnight tonight, we're still going to continue to have wind gusts 35 to 40 miles per hour through about the early part of the afternoon tomorrow. It's going to stay windy all day tomorrow, but by the evening, those winds will finally calm tomorrow. Now, take a look at tomorrow morning's lows. We're going to be near 50 degrees in San Antonio with temperatures even in the 40s in parts of the hill country. So you're going to want that jacket early tomorrow morning, and then you're going to want to keep a sweater because our high tomorrow will only be in the 60s. We'll have plenty of sun though, but it is going to be a cool day, our coolest day in a while in San Antonio with a high only in the 60s. One thing to keep in mind is by Thursday morning, with the winds calming, we're going to have calm winds, clear skies. So by Thursday morning, we're going to be near 40 degrees in San Antonio. That's definitely jacket weather. It's even expected to be in the mid-30s in parts of the hill country like Kerrville, Comfort. I would not be surprised if a couple of valleys touch freezing briefly in the Texas hill country. Now, that's not going to be a widespread freeze where you're going to need to take precautions. And again, that's limited to the hill country. But again, this is going to be some of our coldest weather we've seen since April around San Antonio. That being said, we are still going to be windy tomorrow, and we are still going to be dry tomorrow. And so because of that, even though the weather and the temperatures will be pleasant, fire danger is extreme. The highest it can really be around San Antonio tomorrow. So we really have to do our part to avoid creating grass fires. Doesn't mean we're going to see wildfires everywhere around San Antonio, but if a fire can get going, it could easily spread. So avoid all burning tomorrow. Avoid using tools that create sparks. You might want to, because it's going to be nice and cool in the morning tomorrow, it might be tempting to light the chimenea or things like that, but just better safe than sorry, making sure that we avoid any kind of outdoor burning. And disposing of cigarettes properly is an important one here too, because you don't want those embers to create additional problems. Do not drag trailer chains and do not park your vehicles on grass. The hot car can sometimes catch that grass on fire. So as I mentioned, after we see that front move through, we're going to have a chilly morning on Thursday, a high near 70. Friday, 45 for the morning low, 74 Halloween for the high, and then pleasant weather on Saturday too. Speaking of Halloween, trick-or-treating will be really nice. You will not need any kind of jackets or things like that on Halloween itself. So it will be very nice. Low humidity and temperatures will be gradually falling into the 60s. So let me put everything together for you. You can see again that we are going to be looking at gusty conditions, gusts up to 40 miles per hour tonight and throughout part of the day tomorrow. Then by Thursday morning, 41, 70 for the high on Thursday. Friday, a nice day. We have included rain chances on Saturday. A small chance for rain, 30%. Highest chances will be east of San Antonio, but there is still that potential. Remember, we fall back, we gain an hour overnight, Saturday into Sunday, and then Sunday itself is going to be pretty pleasant. We're going to be looking at high temperatures in the 70s. We've actually updated that weekend forecast. Yesterday it was looking like it might still be warm over the weekend, but now we've really lowered those temperatures by about 10 degrees or so. Steph.
News there. Thank you, Sarah. Endometriosis impacts millions of women, and it's not always easy to get a diagnosis. How one woman was able to get help after years of being told nothing was medically wrong. And walking is an easy way to stay active. However, the length of your stroll could determine the impact of the exercise. How going on long walks could help you live longer. Well, a study found that adults who walked for more than 10 minutes at a time had much lower risks of heart disease and early death. That study looked at more than 33,000 adults in the UK. Researchers say that taking a few longer walks rather than many short ones made a difference in helping to regulate blood pressure, improve circulation, and reduce stress. Doctors say gaining the endurance to take longer full-bodied walks is like gradually training and building a muscle, and well worth it. Well, endometriosis is a condition that affects a lot of women, and it's when tissue similar to the uterine lining grows outside of the uterus. And despite its prevalence around the world, experts say a lack of knowledge about this condition in both patients and doctors leads to delayed diagnosis. CNN's Mandy Gaither has one woman's story and how she found symptom relief.
The first time I even heard the word endometriosis was when I was 21 years old.
For years before that, Leslie Patriarcho had been suffering from debilitating period pain, but every time she sought medical care, she says doctors told her they found nothing medically wrong.
I truly started to believe this was completely in my head.
The last straw came on a work trip when she experienced what she now knows was a terrible flare.
The amount of pain I was in, I was vomiting, the concern they had almost pulling me over for an emergency visit, and the fact that in the back of my mind I knew they would not find anything.
After nearly a decade of suffering, Patriarcho was diagnosed with endometriosis. Surgery brought relief for about 2 years until the symptoms slowly started coming back. This time she sought care from New York Gynecology Surgery and Endometriosis.
On average, it takes about anywhere from 7 to 11 years before a patient gets proper diagnosis and or treatment.
Around 6.5 million women in the U.S. are impacted by endometriosis, but these surgeons say treatment and training for care of this condition is complex and doesn't receive the attention it deserves.
Be your best advocate. Don't take no for an answer. If someone is not listening, they're not the right physician for you.
After Patriarcho pushed for answers, she found out her endometriosis was stage 4, and after surgery, she now has significant symptom relief.
And I did, in fact, know my body. It had progressed. It was back. I was not crazy.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.